Hello, 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 everybody. This is Mary with Scrapbooking, an independent advisor for creative memories. And I wanted to show you cards today. I know that sounds funny because it's Scrapbooking, right? But creative memories and Scrapbooking, um, yes, primarily is scrapbooking, and I do a lot of scrapbooking. However, I also love to use those same supplies to make homemade greeting cards. And the reason I like it is because it's such a personal touch, and you can customize them and you can make them whatever color, have them say whatever you want them to say, change the size, do all different kinds of things with them. You can pop them up, you can do everything you want with card making. And a lot of times when you go to the store, I can go in for one card and I could spend hours finding 40 other cards that I want to use eventually down the line. So this allows me to just make a card super quick and super easy with supplies I already have on hand. And I can make them for any occasion, for just a random hi or a random, hey, I heard you were feeling bad, and maybe I can't get it to the store today, but I can still make a card and send it off today. So that's why I love making cards. I think it's just got a very personal touch. You can make them for anything. A lot of times you can't find a card that says exactly what you want to say. So I'm going to show you today basic cards. There are all different kinds of cards. There will be other videos on other types of cards, but today is just basic cards. So they are going to fit this card basic size envelope, and you can buy them, pack 100 at the dollar store or whatever. But they're the A2 envelopes. And the size of these is, I don't even know what this is. So the 4 3/8 inches by 5 3/4 inches. And you're going to cut your card just a little bit smaller than that. So it's going to be about 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So you're going down about 1/4 of an inch. With this technique though, with this basic card, you can make them to fit any size envelope. So your A9 greeting cards, which are your bigger envelopes, right? A lot of times you'll see this for wedding invitations or, maybe graduation announcements or something like that. You can actually make those. You can make your own wedding invitations. You can make your own wedding cards or your announcements or your agenda or your program or, whatever it is. Funerals, whatever it is, you can make them for any size envelope. You just want to cut everything. So here again, 5 3/4 by 8 3/4. You're going to go down about 1/4 of an inch when you cut your card base, so that you're going to have when it's folded. So I'm going to show you again with these standard cards. 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 is what your card is going to be when it's actually folded. Okay, so you're going to want to cut it bigger depending on how you want to fold it. And then same thing here. You're going to go 1/4 inch down to 5 1/2 to 8 1/2. Okay, so I typically, when I do my cards, because for this size and for this size, my 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock works really well. And so that's typically what I use for my card making. I buy like a variety pack of 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. And then I use that to make most of my cards. These are just your regular envelopes for like mailing a letter. I wanted to show you this, that you can even cut it so that when it folds, it fits in that envelope well. And then you can make a card that fits that if that's all you have. Okay, so just make sure that you're cutting it where when you fold it, you're going to want to fold it in the center however you're cutting it. And so this would be what you're cutting. And then you're going to fold right in the center, and that center should be right in the middle of your envelope, right? Just a little tiny bit If you go down 1/4 of an inch, that gives you 1/8 of an inch on each side, and that should fit in perfectly and still allow your envelope to close. Okay, so basic cards is what I'm going to show you today because they're so simple and you can pretty much use what you have on hand. Now, if you don't have 8.5 by 11 cardstock, that's okay. You can use your 12 by 12 that you have on hand. You know, that works. You're just going to want to cut it down. So this is what I have, is an 8.5 by 11. And what you're going to do is I use my 12-inch trimmer. Okay, and the reason I use my Creative Memories 12-inch trimmer is because it has the straight blade, and you can buy additionally the scoring blade, and that scoring blade makes it really easy to put that fold right where you need it, and then you can easily fold it over once you've scored it. So I'm going to take my 12-inch trimmer and my 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and typically you're going to want to fold the card so that it looks like this, right? This is what a traditional card looks like. Now, again, you can make them as big or as, you know, you can make a jumbo card. You can take this and another sheet and adhere it together and then make a big 8.5 by 11 card. But this is how you want to fold them. And so typically what you're going to do is this side is 5.5 and this is 4 1/4. So this is going to be your 8.5, and then you're going to cut in the middle of your 11 side. Okay, so I'm going to take my long side, my 11-inch side, and I'm going to put that up at the top. Okay, for this I will need to extend, well, you don't need to extend your arm on this one, because half of 11 inches is 5.5, right? And 5.5 is right at the edge of your Creative Memories 12-inch trimmer. So I just line my paper up with the very edge here and up to the top or the bottom. And then I'm just going to use my straight blade to cut all the way down. Okay, now I have 2 card bases. I can actually do these together and just switch out my scoring blade. So I'm going to take my straight blade out, put my scoring blade in, and then I'm going to take my cards that I just cut, make sure they're even together so that you get the score on the right side, at the right place on both cards. Okay, now I'm going to take what is now my long side, which was originally my short side. So originally this was my short side. It's the 8.5 side. Okay, because remember I cut them, right? So now I'm taking that short edge. Okay, so I'm taking my cards and I'm going the long edge again up to the top. This time I'm going to take my short end and I'm going to measure it to the 4 1/4 mark. Then I'm going to take my scoring blade that's in here. I'm going to push down and I'm just going to go over it, you know, once or twice. This way it gives me that little crease. It gives me that fold right in there. Okay, now I can take my card and I can just easily fold it because now I've scored it. It makes that fold for me. I like to use my multi-purpose tool to just crease that edge. Okay, and now I've got the card. Now I can decorate it. I can decorate the front, I can decorate the inside, I can put something handmade on the back side, I can even decorate the back side, I can decorate the envelope that it comes with, you know, that it's going to go in. So let's do that. We're going to make a couple of cards. I'm not going to do too many, but just so you know, there is a variety of cards that you can make. You can make congratulation cards, you can make feel better cards, thinking of you cards, birthday cards, Christmas cards, whatever. So we're just going to make a couple of cards and then I'm going to show you some of the other ones that I have made. I do rubber stamping too, so I have some rubber stamps. A lot of them have greetings on them, and so sometimes I'll use those, you know, like these. so that I could use for the card that I'm going to make right now. I could use any of these. I could use thinking of you with some flowers. I could use feel better soon. I could use congratulations. I have other ones that are like birthday, wedding, baby shower, you know, whatever it is. So for this, I'm going to make, this is from our vitamin C paper pack that we used to have. And I am going to take my Border Maker cartridge. This is our Flourish Vine one. And so it just has this really cool little flowery look to it. And so I'm going to use our Border Maker system. And so you can use really anything. You can use your custom cutting system. You can use your Border Maker system. You can use the punches. You could use the pens. You could draw. You know, there's all kinds of things that you can use to make any kind of card you want. So I'm going to go ahead and load this paper up so that I can make, and I could use the other side if I wanted to, you know. I'm just going to get that in there, line that up, make sure that's all the way in. Now, when you do this on a 12-inch border, you can actually use this for multiple layers on your card, or you can use it for multiple cards, or you can cut off what you need for your card and then use the rest for a piece of a border during one of your scrapbook pages. This is why it ties in with scrapbooking so well, because you can use the scraps that you have from scrapbooking to make a bunch of cards so that you don't waste that paper. Sorry, my jacket's getting in the way. So you can use your scraps. This is a great way to use up your scraps. Okay, and then what I want to do here is I want to look at how that's going to fit on my paper and kind of figure out where I want to cut. So I want, this is going to punch about 3/4 of an inch to an inch in, but I want to make it so that it's a strip with my decorative cut on the outside. And so if I look at that, I can say, okay, pretty much at these lines here is where I want to cut my straight line so that I can then punch it. Okay, now I could have marked that with my multi-purpose tool and just made a little edge mark so that I knew where to cut it, but because this paper has those lines, it's pretty easy to tell. Okay, so I'm going to take, clear off my space real quick. Okay, and then I want to make sure that I take my scoring blade out and replace it with my straight blade so that I can cut that line. Okay. And so I'm just going to line that up, and I could double check again just to make sure. I think I'm a little bit further than I needed to be. And I could easily do this with a ruler too, you know, it doesn't matter. So I was one row off. And if I had messed that up, I could have just cut that strip, and that would have made me another border, and then I would have done it again. It's the beauty of scrapbooking and card making, you know. You can always fix your mistakes. No big deal. Okay, so now I'm going to get this one lined up so that I can cut the other side. And again, this is our Border Maker system. Okay, so just cut that all the way down. And get rid of all my little punch poop here. Now, if you don't have a personal trimmer, you could have used your 12-inch trimmer to cut this too. Okay, so here again, I want it to go my whole length of my card. And if you remember, This edge is now 4 1/4 and this is 5 1/2. So it doesn't matter whether I'm going to make my card this way so that it's open from the right, or if I'm going to make it this way and open from the bottom. Okay, either way, I want that to be 5 1/2 inches. Since your personal trimmer only goes to 5, you could definitely use your 12-inch trimmer to put that at 5 1/2 and cut it exactly right. You could adhere it first to the card base and then just use your personal trimmer to line that edge of the card base up and cut that off. You could do a lot of different things, okay? So I just want to tell you how to do it with different tools so that you kind of know. Okay, now I could do it also with that side showing. I want the little less thing because I'm going to put a flower here and I want that flower to show, so this has less decorative side to it. So I think my flower will show a little bit better. But just so you know, when you have that double-sided paper, you can definitely do different things there. Okay, so I am going to bring my 12-inch trimmer back just to make sure that I get that right cut. Okay, now I could use this as a journaling block on my scrapbook. I could cut another piece and use that for another card. You know, I could cut strips and make different pieces to a border on my scrapbook pages. There's lots of things that you can do with this now. I could even cut a piece of that off and put it on the inside of my card, right? Just to tie it together. So let's just do that because why not? And I still have this piece that I could put a title and put it in a scrapbook. I just don't like to waste. I like to use everything for everything. So, okay, so now I have this beautiful border that cut it out. It shows the back of my base and then it shows my design on the front. So I'm just going to take my adhesive, and it doesn't matter what kind of adhesive you use. I am using the Creative Memories tape runner, just the regular one. However, I'm also going to use my repositionable one, and you know it's the repositionable one because it's got the green cartridge inside. I like the repositionable one for these intricate pieces where my tape runner might rip those flowery pieces apart. And so you can just go right over the whole thing with your repositionable. And it's a lot lighter, so it doesn't matter if you go over those, because now that repositionable tape, you can just kind of wipe it off, the excess, and then you can see, I don't know if you can see those little dots. Hopefully you can. But that's what the repositionable tape looks like versus the tape runner. Okay, and then I would normally use my centering ruler if you have one. If you don't, just eyeball it. And it doesn't matter if you put it all the way down, you know, if you want to write something at the top, but I want this to be centered, so I'm going to put that right there in the center. Okay, and I'm just going to tape that down. Okay, now I could use a lot of different things. I could use my circle cutter or my oval cutter, and I could cut a yellow piece of cardstock and make my greeting right here. I'm going to actually use, these were our botanical bursts that we had a while back. And so they were just different layers of flowers that you can layer. And I'm going to use my foam dots, my foam squares, to kind of give that dimension. So my leaf and my base, I'm just going to glue, I'm going to adhere directly to, using the wrong one, using my repositionable. Okay. And then I'm going to use my foam squares to give that a little dimension up. So with this, now you can see that my tape runner went a little bit over. If you have the adhesive pen, you can use that. You can use, you know, whatever it is that you need to use. I could use my finger. I could use my multi-purpose tool and just bend that extra adhesive over. I could have just left it because it's going to be underneath my flower, so it really doesn't matter. Okay, now that green doesn't show really well against that, but that's okay. It's still going to show my leaf. Now I could have done a different color flower if I wanted to. And then I'm going to use these foam dots to adhere the next pieces so that they give it a little dimension. Now you can actually stack these foam dots to give it more dimension if you want. And then you just take the little paper off the other side. And so you can kind of see that it gave that little bit of dimension to the flower. There's a little bit of gap. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one to give it a more of a dimension. So I'm just peeling that off of my sheet. That one came off by itself. And then I'm putting that on and then just peeling off the paper here, the backing. Okay. And then I'm going to use sparkly little jewel here. And this was all part of our Botanical Burst packages. Okay, so now you can kind of see that dimension in the flower. It makes it 3D, kind of makes it pop off the card. So there's a very simple card. Right, and then if I wanted to, I could also put this here. I could use that on my envelope, you know, whatever I wanted to do. I could put it over here. I could put it along the edge down here, which I actually kind of like. So I'm going to use my multi-purpose tool here real quick. And I've just lined it up here on this edge, and I'm just going to mark it right there on that fold. And that way I know where to cut it. Personal trimmer here. Find that little mark and line that mark up to the edge here. And then I'm going to use my line here to make sure that my base is on that line so that I get a straight cut. That way it doesn't matter where I'm at on my trimmer. I can use that straight line to get a straight cut all the way across. Okay, and then I'm going to adhere that here at the bottom. Line it up with my fold, line it up with my base, and line it up with my other edge. Now I could have also popped that off, you know, and given it a little lift and a 3D look. And now I could sit there and stamp "Feel better soon," "Congratulations," "Just thinking of you," and my little flowers here kind of match that flowery print. I could hand write a greeting. It could be a Mother's Day card. It could be a birthday card. It could be a sympathy card. I mean, there's so many different things that this could be. You know, it could be a congratulations or good luck. So that was how simple it was to make the card. Okay. Now let's just make another one real quick, just to kind of show you. So let's see. I've still got my other base that we cut earlier. So again, I'm just going to fold that. And folding it up front just lets you see exactly where you're going to be designing your card. Okay. And so like I was saying before, right? There are a lot of cards in the store, and you could spend hours looking at your cards and trying to figure out what card to get. Or you could simply say, you know, I know that they don't have a card for what I want to send, so I'm going to go ahead and make my own. So we've already got our base, right? And then I'm just going to take my card. Now this one opened, right? This one because we put this here, opens from the side, or if I wanted to, this one could open from the top and the bottom. This one I'm going to do, because of the way my patterned paper is, I'm going to make it so that it opens up so that I can get that same kind of decoration there. Now if I wanted to, I could go this way too, but I like to have my paper to where I can still do borders and stuff for my scrapbooking. So I don't want to cut down this way because it's going to make it to where I can't make a 12-inch border. So I'm going to cut it this way. And I want it to have a little bit of a gap, so I'm not going to quite do 4 1/4. I'm going to do about 3 1/2, and that's going to give it a little bit of border behind it. But I am going to make it the whole 5 1/2 so that it goes the whole length of my card. And again, just using my straight blade. You could use decorative blades on this if you wanted to have a little different look. You could definitely do that. Like I said, scrapbooking and card making, ton of variety. You can do pretty much anything you want to do. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to adhere that base. Let's go ahead and do my foam dots. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a different look. Okay, so I'm going to use my foam squares here. Now I could do just one in the center here. I could do the 4 corners if I wanted to, just to make sure that it didn't bend back up. And again, just like the other ones, we're just taking them off our sheet, and then it's sticky on both sides. So you're going to stick it down on the sticky side, and then you're going to peel the paper off the other side. These foam dots really stick really well, so. Okay, now if I wanted to do it down here so that I could put that little congratulations up here, I could definitely do that, right? I don't want to get out my stamps. I have some pre-stamped congratulations ovals that I've done for other cards that I make quite often. Set up over here. There we go. Okay, so this just gave it a little bit more of dimension there. I don't have to. I could have adhered that straight to that. But I've used my, it's the second to largest oval. It's the one that says 4 by 6. So if you haven't noticed yet, on your oval templates, they have the size that they cut. So this is the size that cuts in here, and this is the size that cuts out here. And so this is your oval template that says 4 by 6. And I've just used the red, I think the red blade, maybe it was the green, no, pretty sure that's the red blade. And I just cut a bunch of ovals out of white, and then I took my congratulations stamp and just stamped those, and then I put them on like 4 by 4 squares. I think I've got one over here to show you. So you can see it's just, and then I can write my little greeting here. I usually do this with like prize packages and stuff, you know, I'll just throw that in with a little greeting and then throw it in with my little goodies. And so you can do that on any color. And then I'm going to just put that right in the middle here. And so I'll just use, again, my little foam dots to raise that up a little bit. And I'm just putting them here on the outside. I don't need them all over, right? I can just do them right here on the edges. And then that one's already off. Take that paper off. Put that right in the middle. So these are little dog tags. This is from our Bark and Meow paper pack. And then on the inside, I'm going to use our Border Maker cartridge again. And I'm going to use our paw prints. So I'm going to pop in the paw prints real quick. And I'm just going to use a scrap of black that I have. But hopefully you're starting to see how easy it is to make custom cards that you can't find anywhere else, or that you want to just make up really quick to send out, right? I made these cards faster than I could have even driven to the store and started looking for a card. And like I said before, if you're like me, it's not a 5-minute trip when you're looking for cards, because you spend forever looking for all kinds of other cards that you want. So this actually saves me money too, because I don't have to buy 20 other cards that I'm just going to shove in a folder and, you know, or a file, and wait for hopefully that day that I'm going to use them again. Okay, and I'm going to use my 12-inch trimmer, because this cartridge does not detach it from the paper. And here again, it was just scraps that I used. I didn't get that quite as close as I wanted to. There we go. Didn't cut it quite enough on that edge. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to do them this way, even though it's opening up this way. Instead of, I could put them going this way, but I'm going to do them this way. And so this is my 4 1/4 inch side. And so I'm just going to take this, match it up to my 4 1/4. And you could do this on the 12-inch trimmer. You could do it on your personal trimmer. Okay. And I'm going to cut 2 of those because I want to put them on the outsides. And then I'm going to take my adhesive and put those there. So I use my foam dots, the foam squares, a lot for my card making. I don't use them so much in my scrapbooking because I figure that my scrapbook pages are gonna, you know, when the book shuts and stuff like that, I don't want them to push it down. And so I use my foam squares a lot for card making, but I got that a little off. Take that multi-purpose tool here so I can reposition that. And you might be asking, why am I not using my repositionable tape in case I made a mistake like that? Well, your repositionable tape is not exactly permanent, and so I don't want that to come off when they go and open their card and then all of a sudden the piece falls off. So I want to use my permanent adhesive. Okay, so now I have this card. Beautiful pet card. Probably can't find that in the store. So I'm going to say, congratulations, it's got these dog tags. And then I'm going to use my calligraphy pen to write. I have congratulations on the front. And I'm going to write my little greeting in here. Now, excuse me. Okay, so now I have congratulations on your new best friend. Now, I could use this for a friend that just got a new puppy, someone who just adopted a new puppy. If you work for a vet clinic or a pet adoption agency, right, you could do these and send it home with them. I could use this to be really mean to my kids. And I could surprise them, like if this was like a birthday or something, you know, I could sit there and give them this card and they'd be like, congratulations, it's my birthday, you know, like, but then I could say on your new best friend, and they got the puppy they wanted for, you know, Christmas or their birthday or whatever. So just different, unique, like I said, very custom cards. Okay. Now, birthday cards are something that everybody has, right? And everybody gets birthday cards. But when you're making a custom birthday card, the beauty of making a card versus going and buying one is that with any kind of greeting card, not just birthday cards, but the beauty is that you can customize it. You can make it their favorite colors. You can make, if they really love butterflies, make them a birthday card with butterflies. If they, you know, you can put their age. So for instance, like this birthday card that I've made before, I just used our punch with the balloons, and then I've put those on there, and I can leave this one blank, and I can add 13th or 15th or 18th or 21st or first birthday or, you know, 5th birthday or whatever it is. I could use the balloons to put their name in there. So I can really customize the card to be exactly for that person and for that occasion. This one, I just used some scraps that I had, and I just stacked those scraps and then used my pen to decorate them up. And this one was just a piece of punch poop from another punch of this that came out of the middle here, and I used that as my flame. You know, so there's a lot of different things that you can do with custom cards. For instance, this person, right? I have my base. It's just a simple little light blue base. And then I've used my Cricut to cut out happy birthday and these large balloons. And I could, you know, kind of put that catty corner. I could put it straight across. I could even use this different kind of blue decorative paper to put and cover my blue base so that when I open it, it's that light blue, but the outside is going to be this sheet here. Or I could bring it in and cut a little bit smaller and make a border so that it doesn't cover my whole base. It, you know, covers just a little bit, or like I said, cover the whole thing. And then I could put my happy birthday greeting right on that without the balloon, right? Maybe they don't care for balloons. Maybe balloons is just too, you know, whatever for them. I could use the inside and I could cut out a bunch of balloons and put their name on it. You know, there's just so many different things that you can do. And like I said, when you can add their name and you can add their actual age, you know, or whatever it is to make it very, very special, very, very unique for them, it makes them feel so special. And it shows that you took time. And as you can see, none of them took a lot of time to make. Like I said, less time to go to the store and pick one out. And here it is that you took time to make it and think about them, make the card for them. It makes them feel special, uses up scraps and things that you already have. So it just, I love it. And I hope you do too. This one you can decorate, if it's hearts, balloons, whatever it is, you can make it match the card, so you can kind of decorate up the envelope. You could decorate the flap, you could decorate the front of it, however you want to do that. So these are just some other ideas of different cards that I've made so that you can kind of get an idea of all the different varieties that you can make. You can decorate the inside, you can decorate the outside, you can use foam dots, you can not use foam dots. You know, this star and this heart, even this heart was cut out using our custom cutting system shapes. These are the custom cutting system circles, and then I've just used some rubber stamps. But all different kinds. These are adhered straight to the paper, whereas these other ones are kind of used with foam dots to come out. And then our birthday cake punch. This was just an embellishment and some bead embellishments from a card making kit that we had at one time with Creative Memories. Here again, just using that circle cutting and the border maker system. These little snowflakes were made from some punch poop. These were some old die cuts. I've been scrapbooking for a long time, so those were old die cuts. But, you know, again, just you can see the variety. Christmas cards with die cuts and punches. This is our wavy cut on our decorative 12-inch trimmer. Right, this was just strips of paper that I decorated with pens. This is just a blank card that I could use, you know, as a sympathy card, as a get well card, as a Mother's Day, just thinking of you card, just a hello. Okay, our decorative blades on our 12-inch trimmer. This is just 2 cuts from this punch, right? So it's a border maker punch, but you can just use it just to do a couple of simple cuts, or you could have made a whole 12-inch border and then just cut them to make a couple of cards. You don't have to have a folding card, right? This is just I've just cut the 4 squares out of my 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And so they're just 4 1/4 by 5.5. And then I've just not folded them. I've not creased them. So I can decorate the front with borders and punches and cuts and strips and whatever and writing. And then on the back, I can just take my regular printer and print out all the details of the party and just adhere that on the back. And there's my invitations, right? So just a lot of different things that you can do. This one I took and it was still the whole strip, but instead of scoring it right in the middle, I've scored it in 2 different places to where my base is still that same 4 1/4 by 5.5 place. And then I've just scored it, but not in the center. And then I've taken my punch and just created that so that it folds, and put a die cut to kind of seal it together. And then this is just a strip with adhesive on the side and down the bottom that I can tuck some money in or a gift card or something in. So you can make gift card holders, you can make money cards, you can make greeting cards. There's so many different things you can make when you're scrapbooking and making cards. So that was just our basic card, right? And then there's all different other videos and things that you'll be able to see with like easel cards and different varieties of cards. So I hope you enjoyed this. I really hope you enjoy making cards and having fun with what you have already to make those custom cards, make your recipients feel really good, and that you can have fun doing this and making a variety of cards. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please comment, like, and subscribe, and have a scrap happy day.